ARYNA Sabalenka calls WTA Finals energy contagious, after ending Coco Gauff's title defense. The tennis queens brought the heat in Riyadh as ARYNA Sabalenka powered past Coco Gauff to lock in her spot at the WTA Finals semi-finals. The WTA Finals marked the end of the tennis season, a showdown between 8 of the best players on the planet, split into 2 groups battling for a spot in the semi-finals. It's where the entire season builds to a high-stakes finish. And this year's lineup? Especially impressive. Between Coco Gauff, Jessica Pegula, Amanda Anisimova and Madison Keys, the U.S. roster hasn't been this stacked since the Serena and Venus Williams era in 2002. Naturally, all eyes were on the marquee matchup, ARYNA Sabalenka versus Coco Gauff. On Thursday, November 6th, that showdown finally happened in Riyadh. The defending champ, Gauff, 21, faced off against world number 1 Sabalenka and fought hard, but Sabalenka came out on top 7-6-5, 6-2. For anyone not fluent in tennis scores, that means the first set was razor close. Gauff nearly snatched it, but Sabalenka powered through and never looked back. The win pushed her into the semi-finals and officially ended Gauff's title defense. Right after the match, Sabalenka jumped on Instagram to soak it in. Semis bound red heart, fire at Tafanos Ride, your energy is contagious, flexed biceps, medium light skin tone, she wrote. Fans piled into her comments with strings of fire and heart emojis. Let's go Tigress. Tiger face, what a fighter, cross swords, flexed biceps, fire fire fire. One person cheered. Meanwhile, Gauff took the loss gracefully, posting, always an honor to be a part of and compete against the top 8 in the world. Thank you Riyadh, Purple Heart. Her fans flooded the post with love and support, reminding her how much she's already achieved this season. It was a full circle moment for the pair, who last clashed back in June during the French Open final. That day in Paris, Gauff lifted her first Roland Garros trophy after a tense 3-set comeback, 6-7, 5, 6-2, 6-4, while Sabalenka fought back tears and later admitted it was the worst tennis I've played in the last I don't know how many months. She continued, the conditions were terrible and she simply was better in these conditions than me, and I think it was the worst final I ever played. The Belarusian star said afterward she wasn't proud of how she handled the loss and later apologized to Gauff for comments that downplayed her win. We've always been really good with Coco, Sabalenka told reporters at Wimbledon a few weeks later, according to Reuters. I didn't really want to offend her. I was just completely, upset with myself and emotions got over me. I just completely lost it. Of course she's got my respect. We are good, we are friends. Gauff confirmed she accepted the apology, telling reporters, I'm not someone to hold a grudge, and when I was talking to my circle about it I was like, if she apologizes I will be fine and we'll move on. She did, and she did again when I saw her before our practice. It was water under a bridge. Under the glowing lights of the WTA Finals arena, the atmosphere was electric, a mixture of tension, admiration, and awe that could only exist when 2 of women's tennis brightest stars face off. ARYNA Sabalenka, known for her ferocious intensity and raw power, stood tall once again. Her opponent, Coco Gauff, the young phenom and defending champion, had come into the tournament hoping to recreate the magic of her previous year. Yet on this night, Sabalenka's energy, focus and unrelenting drive were simply too much to contain. When the final point was struck and Sabalenka's trademark roar echoed through the stadium, she didn't just win a match, she reclaimed her place as the heartbeat of the WTA Finals. And as the crowd erupted, she smiled and later described the moment in one word that summed up the entire night: contagious. The energy out there was just unbelievable, Sabalenka said in her post-match interview. It was contagious, every point, every rally, every cheer pushed me harder. You could feel how much people cared about this match. The power and the poise. Sabalenka has always been known for her power, that booming serve, those blistering ground strokes that seem to defy physics. But this match showcased something deeper: control. Against a player as fast and tactical as Coco Gauff, brute strength alone is never enough. Sabalenka had to dig into her strategic side, varying her pace, mixing her angles and staying composed during the Americans' lightning-quick counterattacks. For much of the first set, the rallies felt like heavyweight boxing rounds. Gauff sprinted, slid and clawed back impossible shots, while Sabalenka responded with thunderous forehands that seemed to leave trails of smoke. The crowd could barely sit still. Every point ended with gasps, applause or a wave of disbelief. Yet even when the momentum shifted, as it inevitably does in matches of this magnitude, Sabalenka didn't flinch. Gone were the moments of self-doubt or emotional outbursts that sometimes haunted her earlier in her career. This was a more mature Sabalenka, one who fed off the crowd's energy without losing control of it. I used to let emotions take over, she admitted with a grin. But now I use them. The fans were giving me so much energy and I tried to send it right back. Gauff's heartbreak, Sabalenka's rise. For Coco Gauff, the loss was undoubtedly painful. The 21-year-old had hoped to defend her WTA Finals title and cap off a season of growth, resilience, and global stardom. Her defense was admirable. She fought with the same fearless spirit that made her a Grand Slam champion and one of the sport's most beloved figures. But on this night, the rhythm wasn't fully there. Still, as the two shared a brief embrace at the net, there was nothing but mutual respect. Gauff knew she had faced the better player, and Sabalenka knew she had just toppled one of the brightest talents of her generation. Coco is such a fighter, Sabalenka said. She never gives you an easy point. Beating her means you have to earn every single thing. That's what makes this victory so special. It was, in many ways, a passing-of-the-moment type of match, not from one era to another but from one firebrand to another. Sabalenka's victory didn't diminish Gauff's star. It only added another chapter to their growing rivalry, one that's becoming one of the most captivating stories in women's tennis. The contagious spirit of the finals. Sabalenka's word choice, contagious, perfectly captured what makes the WTA Finals unique. Unlike most tournaments, the finals aren't just about endurance or consistency, they're about energy. The world's best 8 players share one stage, one arena, one moment to prove who truly belongs at the top. Every match carries the weight of legacy, and every cheer from the stands seems to ripple across the court. Fans from around the world bring flags, chants, and endless enthusiasm. For Sabalenka, that crowd support didn't just inspire her, it became a weapon. When you hear the noise, the drums, the chants, it's impossible not to smile, she said. You play for yourself but you also play for them. That's the beauty of it. A reignited confidence. This win marks a turning point for Sabalenka, who had faced moments of inconsistency earlier in the season. There were doubts, from fans, analysts, and perhaps even from herself, about whether she could maintain the mental strength needed to stay at the top. But in the WTA Finals, she rediscovered what makes her such a formidable force: belief.